How does Japan keep clinging to zero interest rate policy and constant fiscal spending, even when it seems like they're just prolonging the inevitable collapse? It's simple. They're trying to keep their financial system from crumbling. It's a strategy that has been in place since the early 90s, and a strategy that has, frankly, wasted over 3 decades. So the Japanese government, like many others around the globe, refused to let its big banks fail, and now they're dragging the yen into the monetary abyss, condemning it to worthlessness in the name of saving face. Let's talk about this. Okay, so I want to take a quick minute to share some thoughts in reference to what's happening out in Japan, just because that is the numero uno of global monetary fiat Ponzi scheme experiments. It's been going on for close to 30 years now, and it looks like there's been a change of the guards, yet also potential change in policy. And I think there's a lot that we can learn from about this experience over here on the Western Hemisphere, just because all central banks are in the same boat. They're all trapped, stuck with a negative real interest rate environment. At the same time, they need more inflation to keep these bubbles inflated. And so what we can expect over here in the United States will be something similar to what's happening in Japan now, but then again, 10 times worse, because the Federal Reserve note is the world reserve currency. So in this video, I'm just gonna share some thoughts real quick and just highlight some of the key things worth paying attention to, just because we can always learn about how things may play out here in the Western Hemisphere or wherever you're at, maybe Europe or South America, wherever, based upon the experiment in Japan that seems to be failing right now. So just yesterday, news broke that the Bank of Japan is reversing its policy course. It's a move many saw coming, especially those who understand the dynamics of the yen carry trade. So this financial mechanism has been the backbone of Japan's loose monetary stance. So here's how it works. Japan keeps interest rates near zero or even negative, making the yen cheap to borrow. Then you have international investors that take these cheap loans to stronger currencies like dollars or euros and invest in higher yielding assets elsewhere. So this catch is the fact that the yen has to stay weak for the system to function smoothly, and Japan has to keep printing currency to ensure that it does. But the cracks in the system have started to show, and the global financial markets have been rattled severely because of this. So with Japan slowly tightening its policies over the last year by raising interest rates, albeit from negative territory to a mere quarter of a point, still, that's been enough to cause ripples in the system. Now, with other central banks like the Federal Reserve and the European Central Bank beginning to cut rates again, Japan's hand has been forced. And so the new Prime Minister, Fumio Kishida, made it official after meeting the Bank of Japan governor yesterday that Japan isn't ready for a rate hike. So forget all the talk about inflation or deflation. Japan's currency, the yen, is in free fall when measured against real assets like gold and silver. Yet, they're still acting like deflation is the real threat. So for ordinary Japanese citizens, it rings a lot of alarm bells. See, the cost of living is on the rise there, even as wages stagnate, leaving the population to grapple with a deteriorating standard of living. Japan's monetary policy isn't just about Japan, though. It's a warning for all of us. See, what's happening to the yen will eventually play out with other fiat currency. So whether it be the euro, the dollar, or the pound, the same policies of endless currency printing, loose fiscal policy and monetary conditions, and a refusal to let the big banks fail are being mirrored in the West economies as well. So it's a global race to the bottom for everybody. And so what's the key takeaway here? We're witnessing the slow motion collapse of fiat currencies, with Japan leading the way down. So the yen's worthlessness is a preview of what's in store for other currencies as governments keep inflating their systems under the guise of fighting deflation. It's a band-aid solution for a wound that keeps bleeding. So while Japan might be making headlines for reversing its policy, it's not just a reversal that should surprise you. What's important is what this means for the rest of the world. So as governments continue down this path, it's the general public, those that are not uber wealthy, who will pay the price in rising cost of living and currency devaluation. And the ones at the top with all the wealth safely stashed in assets will be the beneficiaries of increased valuation of their assets, while the people who own nothing will lose everything they already got. So Japan has simply shown its cards first. It's a game we're all playing, whether we like it or not. And so this is something worth considering. And the question I'll put out there to you guys, for those who are paying attention, will Japan lead the rest of the world down to the abyss with its fiat currency destruction? We'll have to wait and see. But in the meantime, all the alarm bells are going off. All the signs point to the necessity of more currency creation or else. Therefore, the more currency created, the less purchasing power you have in your possession. So if you witness and realize what's going on, it is your responsibility to protect yourself from those that are trying to cause you harm by debasing the currency. And so the only way to counter these measures is to get physical, get into real assets that appreciate, that absorb all this liquidity from the system and allow you to retain purchasing power for the future. And of course, that happens to be centered around gold and silver. And then, of course, from a speculation standpoint, some type of crypto. And so since I've laid out some of the problems that you should be aware of, I also want to point out some solutions as well. So if you guys are interested, everybody can afford gold with fractional denominated notes that are available through the Gold Back program. So if you're interested in finding out more about those, go to buygoldnotes.com, links in the description. And for those who want to get involved with the silver business, there's the #1 fastest growing silver community through Quicksilver, where you get a chance to automate your silver, help other people, earn income for sharing this information. Go to mysilverteam.com, links in the description, and work with me directly. I would love to definitely help anybody who wants to venture into the silver business. But anyway, thought I would take a minute, share some thoughts, let you know what's happening with this yen carry trade unraveling, and get your thoughts on it. So if you found value, hit that thumbs up, drop a comment, let me know whatever else you might be paying attention to is worth talking about, and I'll definitely try to put together some thoughts about it and make a video for it. So once again, look forward to answering your comments, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.